Prize support in the Digimon card game has contributed at times to whether events are going to be successful or not. And today's video looks at the history of these prize cards and what year saw a significant decline before coming to a conclusion of why today, it's better than ever. As always, if you enjoy these types of videos, do consider liking this video, subscribing to the channel, and hitting that notification bell for more future content. The Digimon card game has been around for over 3.5 years now, with some creators remarking that the game is dying, while others saying it's going strong. As a Digimon fan, Digimon has been around for a long time, and while it had multiple trading card games, the franchise will always have a niche of supporters, myself included, who will pick it up. 2021 was the first year in which Digimon was officially released in North America, and these regionals and store championships provided players the golden ticket of being able to play in the final championship 2021 as long as you placed in the top 8 in a regional or first of 16 players in a store championship. Though this video isn't going to focus too much on store championships as the intent is regionals. Prizing for regionals contained a card I coined as Crotch Agumon, Promoware Garurumon, Nightmon, Starter Deck Kabuterimon, Machine Dramon, Starter Deck Devimon, and Chaosmon. Overall, for the first set of regional promos, these were all fairly decent picks with 3 of the cards locked to starter decks. A rarity bump for promos, and of course Lord Nightmon being absolutely obnoxious. And with something to fight for in tournaments, the invite was absolutely worth it. 2022 would mark changes in the frequency in which prize support changed, as there wasn't just a single type of prizing all year round, but a change at the middle of the year for new cards to hunt for. Additionally, players who placed in the top 32 of North America's final championship of 2021 instantly qualified along with the top 8 for regionals in 2022, and of course first place in the 16-person store championship. For the first wave of regional support cards, you had cards like Neo Devimon, 8mon, Parasaurmon, Bokomon, Megadramon, Andromon, and Vmon. A slew of cards that hadn't had a rarity bump, but in my mind, weren't as nice as the first wave of regional prize cards for cards of their time. But with the second wave, Purple Guilmon, Dorugamon, Evolution Ancient, Shakuamon, Lydramon, Geogreymon, and Starter Deck Pyildramon really showcased that prize support was getting better. That is, until 2023. Largely, 2023 was one of the largest missteps for Bandai in regards to regionals and nationals, because there were so many last-minute changes, and prize support was abysmal. Because of this year, I would argue many players left the game, and simultaneously is the cause of today's, if not partially, the result of today's problems. With 2021 and 2022, there was already the distinctive belief that you immediately qualified for the next year's event if you were in the top 32 of the final championship of that year. But 2023 was the first year in which Bandai did something in the middle of the year that really upset a lot of players. 2023's event became Bandai Card Fest, and the entire event was open to everyone. So in the end, what were players competing for? The answer was a 2-round bye. But this wasn't the only misstep that Bandai took in regards to this year. In regards to the number of regional prize sets, there wasn't just 1 or 2 types of prizing, there was now 3. This was the year that the prize support was arguably one of the worst prize support years ever, at least in the first 2/3 of the year. First, you had a cardboard participation deck box that did not even fit sleeved cards. But the cards, for the greater length of the first 8 months, it was honestly really bad. The first wave of cards offered level 4 Digimon reminiscent of Digimon from BT12 across time. You had the level 4 representatives of each of the main cast, including Greymon, XVmon, Growlmon, Agunimon, Geogreymon, Shoutmon King version, and Beetle Gamamon. Of these, none of them were seeing any kind of play. The second set was a minor step up of being the level 5 Digimon with the same theme in mind. Metal Greymon, Pyildramon, War Growlmon, Aldamon, Rise Greymon, Omni Shoutmon, and Canoweismon. And while some of these cards again were not great by any means, I have to concede that for Hunter players, Milliploop, and Red Hybrid players, it was honestly an improvement for some rarity bumps. And while the first 2 sets of prize support cards for these regionals were lackluster and not that great in my mind, the third set was pretty goddamn perfect. With level 4s and 5s, of course Bandai was going to close out the year with the level 6s featuring BT12 cards like Imperial Dramon Fighter Mode, War Greymon, Gallantmon, Emperor Greymon, Shine Greymon, and older cards like Shoutmon Cross 7 and Promo Siriusmon. There were honestly a lot of heavy hitters here, and I think these were the events that players were scrambling to get into. And while this was the amazing price support for the regional event, ultimately, what were the after effects? 2024 has been one of the biggest struggle years for the Digimon card game, and it's really a multitude of reasons. On one hand, you have so many sets being dropped in one year. You also have a fairly boring format where Numemon and Magnamon X continue to not only perform here in North America, but Japan as well. But the last thing is arguably that even with amazing price support, the problem is there just aren't enough events. Because of the poor reception of price support in 2023, Bandai from their eyes saw less people signing up for events, which means people weren't interested in Digimon. So when some executive was like, "Oh, Digimon numbers are down, we're hosting less events and also lowering the player cap," that spelled the disaster you're seeing today. Players wanting to play in events but can't because of the lower player cap and them being sold out. You'll notice event coverage is also less, and the reason is the lack of budget for Digimon this year. Bottom line, when it comes to pricing in the Digimon card game, price support is never going to be perfect by any means. But Bandai has definitely made great strides for the support this year despite the reduction in the number of events. What we can do now as players is to constantly get those numbers up for events, submit feedback to Bandai when they drop a new poll, and try to make the best of the situation we're given. What are your thoughts overall for pricing in the Digimon card game, and how has it contributed in your stance on the game overall? 2024 is again a finicky year for Bandai, as some players may see some burnout from product release, or the lack of format changes that stops the format from feeling dull. This is DIGI-PANDA, logging out.